can trauma ever go away? It's almost like saying, do we ever go away? But I think, as Mike said at the beginning, it's our perspective more than anything else. So take, for example, myself. Um, in class, when I was about 4 or 5 years of age, I thought my marbles was the most biggest thing in the world. When somebody took my marbles, I went crazy. I was upset. They stole it. It's almost like a child losing their teddy bear. I mean, oh, come on, it's just a little teddy bear. No, at that present time, because it's their world. So I've worked in schools, I work in secondary schools. It's always down to the perspective of where you are and how you view the actual thing or event, what you're looking at. So when the person, my marbles went missing, I cried. I had suffered loss, I suffered trauma, but I suffered it as a 5-year-old. But to me at the time, it was the biggest thing. Now, as I look back at them, it's only marbles. But at the time, it was my world. Was I stopped? Was I stuck? Absolutely. But at the time, I was distracted. I've learned to cope, put in the box. Okay, let's get over it. But does trauma go away? It's how we view trauma. Events never go away because your memories are there. Your memory is a lifetime. So either we learn to live with it or learn not to live with it. It's a choice. It is a choice. So can we live with traumatic events? Of course we can. Because I wet my bed until quite late in age, but I learned to get over it and live with it. But I still had the memories of it. Am I stopped by it? No. But do they affect me? No. I look back at it and learn from it. So it's something which is transferable, something that you can encourage somebody else, but the trauma never goes away. But it's how you process it, is what you do with the trauma. So abuses, for example, traditional abuses, we know lots of traditional abuses. So I'm not going to be a person that almost like to dictate in sermons. So if anybody wants to put in the chat, anybody wants to come with me with anything or to share what they think abuse is, and then we can discuss. Because, for example, the big abuses, the molestation, the neglect, the abuse, the physical, verbal abuses, so forth, big T's, big traditional, big A's, big abuses, big trauma. What about the little ones? What about the ones of teachers saying, hey, you're never going to make it? What about the little ones of isolation? What about the little ones of not being good enough in the family? You're always stupid. It's so dunce. Why do you keep doing that? Those little layered traumas continue. As you get older, they shape your personality into how you view yourself, to how you see yourself. But you don't understand. That's you become a personality of somebody else. So you've taken on how they view. So now you take it as your core belief that, hey, I'm stupid. Well, I'm not good enough. Well, maybe it's my portion. Maybe that should have happened to me. Why was I in that situation? Because I deserved it. And that becomes your core belief. So sometimes, as I say to clients, I'm not really interested in your feelings. I'm more interested in your beliefs. Because your beliefs therefore affect your thinking. Your thinking therefore affects your feeling. Your feelings therefore affect your behavior. Because you believe. Everything starts with a belief. It starts with your core values. Starts with how you see yourself. So question is, how do you see yourself? It's a traumatic event, but that doesn't define you. It's a traumatic situation, but that is not you. Because you can't shape the past. You can't change it. But if you carry the past into the present, you shape your future. So what are you going to do with the trauma? Because we all suffer trauma, sometimes daily, sometimes minutely, sometimes hourly, but we suffer it. I've gone from the last year and a bit through 8 bereavements. And I think lately, the latest one kind of hit me sideways, and I have to almost become my own client. I have to almost encourage myself in the same way I would encourage a client, because I've still got to do the work. I've still got to process the same way you process. I'm one from amongst you. I feel it the same way. I'm not some abstract person that's on a position of power that is void of any feelings. I'm in it the same as you are. I feel it the same as you. But the only difference is I've learned to unwrap myself maybe more so than you. Maybe I've had to give myself more tools. Who's given you the tools to process trauma? Who's helped you to process what's gone through your lifestyle? Who's helped you walk through your pain into the light? Oftentimes we as Mike said, are so mistake. That's how I grow, because that's how I am. Really? Is that really you? Or as Mike said, is that somebody that you've learned to be you? Because what you don't know is what you don't know. I say it again, what you don't know is what you don't know. So can you be open to the fact that maybe your learning needs to be unlearned? Maybe your learning needs to be reprocessed. Because I thought, I'm a black man, I've got to be a certain way. Men and women, we process things in a whole different way of being. How we express it, how we absorb it, how we also share it. Or the key question, don't share it. Because what I do often find is that women amongst each other can be their cheerleaders or emotional beaters. They either cheer each other, you know, I got you, girl, no problem, I got you, or they beat each other with it. Catty, nasty, backstab, talk right down to each other. Whereas men, we just go in silent, or we let everybody else know what's going on with us. And we're not only talking anger, we're not only talking again, the traditional ways of expressing. What about the ones where you don't want to accept help? What about the one where you overcompensate and you must do everything and anything? What about the ones where you can help everybody else but yourself? We all express our trauma in different ways, and we walk through it in a whole different way. So sometimes it's just stopping and recognizing what's really going on for you. Why is this going on for you? Why have you been doing what you've been doing? Do you have enough courage to confront the trauma? Because sometimes we can come and disassociate, and we can almost pull it away. We take it on and say, okay, that's all I can do, because I can't deal. I can't deal. Think about that saying, what you just said, I can't deal with this. I have no time for this. It's a start. And I don't want to, more than anything else, disassociate trauma in any way, but trauma will never go away. But what will go away is your processing of how you process it. So trauma is always there, because the fact that we remember it, but how you remember it is the key question. How you deal with it is the key question. But the thing about trauma and what it does, your heart doesn't discriminate what germinates. So what it takes in, it says, I'm just going to develop it. It just, whatever's fed to it, whatever you're fed, it germinates. It's like, okay, I've had trauma, I'm going to germinate that. So it also, as you said, it almost like bonding with it, you kind of becomes you, and that's not really you. So just as like forgiveness, any tools you can get to improve yourself, do it. Whether that's through meditation, whether that's through forgiveness, whether that's through associating with the right people, you are absorbing something. We absorb something daily, but you choose what you want to absorb is the key question. So when you're talking about victim kind of mentality or trauma bond, it's almost like your choice. Because I can put a coat on today and say, you know, I'm no longer the victim. That has happened to me, but that's not my identity. I'm not playing the victim. So you can talk to yourself. What you say is what you usually agree with. So how you talk to yourself, how you constantly think about yourself consciously, not the part, oh, it's going to make a change. No, consciously. It's like me going to the gym and say, yeah, I want to lose weight. Yeah, it sounds great. It's a great sound bite, but when I go to the gym, I'm chatting to Jim, Bob, Sharon, Susie, and whoever. I'm not doing an ounce of work on myself, neither changing my diet. So it sounds good. So you haven't consciously agreed with your words. So your words are just literally hot air. So who do you bond with? Who do you identify with? Who do you see yourself as? Your core beliefs, because your belief changes you. So it changes your brain, how you think. Your brain therefore says, oh, okay, I can be that. But you've got to consciously do that part. And whether you speak it out, whether you act it out, whether you forgive it out. Because I heard Jake said, and I get it now, forgiveness is the gift you give yourself. It's key, it's vital. And it's not for anybody else apart from you. Because it's almost like constantly being angry, me constantly staying in a traumatized state, it's giving me no rest. Trauma needs a bed to lie in. And if I say, you know what, if I let it lie in my bed all day long, where am I going to sleep? Where am I going to rest? It takes the energy. It takes a place of base almost being. So if you let it sit there, it will say, okay, great, I can stay here. I've got to choose, say, you know what, I can't leave to say it because I need to grow. I need to be a better part of me. And that's my choice. To say, I've got to confront this trauma, get out of my bed, get out of my mind. It needs a place to reside. It needs an energy. You need to feed it. Think about the amount of times we think on trauma and not think on ourselves. I'd be ripped. I'd be hench. I'd be big. I'd be muscular. The amount of energy sometimes I thought of my trauma. I look like the Hulk from the Avengers. But I've got to say, okay, it's almost like empty calories. Like eating crisp all day does you no good. What we choose to do, are we thinking about what we're thinking about?